This is the iPod Touch 4 on iOS 4. If only I can unlock it. And back then, it is one of the very, very best deals for an iOS device. Welcome back. And after the, frankly, very weird cycle of two generations where the hardware is basically the same, and with just a weird announcement of the third gen that is 50% faster, but then the second gen and third gen are sold at the same time. No more. This is a way better fourth gen that was finally updated with a ton of new features. Well, let's take a look at the new design first. So it is thinner than the third gen and the second gen because they're both the same. It has a front-facing camera. It has separated volume buttons, and they moved it to the right. The sleep wake button has been on the left for some reason for 3 generations. They finally moved it to the right. And finally, a speaker grill on the left side. So it does have a speaker, it just does not have a speaker grill, which is very, very weird. But yeah, it's a lot more modern, a lot nicer. Now I'm going to bring out the iPhone 4 because this is the reason why it is such a good deal. It is so close to the iPhone 4. The iPhone 4 is $600, about $600 off contract, $649 if I remember correctly. This is $199. It starts at 8 gigs. This starts at 16 gigs. And they're both super similar. They both have a Retina display. So look at the display here. See if I can focus this close. Now I can push it a little back, but both have a Retina display. They both have front and back cameras. So look at that. Finally, a back camera. Finally, first time on iPod Touch, and this is paired with the front camera. And it has the A4 chip. So all this for $400 less. So what's the catch? So first, let's look at the display. So they're both Retina displays, so 960 by 640, which is crazy for $200. You can get such a high resolution display. Remember, this is the highest resolution display on a phone, and this is just 3 months after that. And so it's really, really sharp, the display. But the catch is, well, this on the left, the iPhone 4 has IPS technology and lamination, so it looks great off axis. If I tilt the display, this is the iPod Touch on the right. Yeah, it's not great. So yeah, the display wise, even though it is such high quality, it is not IPS, but still, I mean, 960 by 640. You have to remember, 2010. This is the highest resolution in a mobile device, and you can get that for $200. Is actually a deal. The A4 chip, it is slightly underclocked on the iPod, so games run slightly slower, a little bit slower. Not too much. It also has the camera, but of course, right, it is not. While it's capable of doing 5 megapixel photos, here it's just VGA quality. I mean, you still have them. Let's just take a photo. Let me just show you what the photos are like. And yeah, really the first camera on the iPod Touch, and it's not bad, but it looks great when it's in good lighting. But it looks a lot worse when you try to zoom in because, again, it's less than 1 megapixel. It doesn't focus all that well. It does tap to focus, but yeah, it is not the 5 megapixel photo. But yeah, so this is why I actually got my own back in the day. That's right. This is my personal unit. In fact, this is my first ever Apple device. I got it back in 2011 for my birthday. I did not have my own money then. I was a wee lad then. But that's why I got one, because it's cheap enough. And yet it has the A4 chip, it has the Retina display. It has all the bells and whistles of the iPhone, with the exception of course, right, the ability to make phone calls. So you do have the FaceTime app. But all the rest of iOS 4 is on this device. Like folders, like Game Center, like multitasking. That's right, on an iPod Touch. After years of kind of just falling behind on this thing, right, with the voice memos app and everything, suddenly, what a massive leap forward. And honestly, this is really the story about this iPod Touch, and the speaker is a lot improved. It is so nice. And all I could say about iOS 4, you've already seen the iPhone 4 videos. I don't really feel like I have to talk much about that. The dedicated FaceTime app is definitely nice. So this is really the only app that's really different here. And in iOS 4, so it does have its own FaceTime app separated into music and videos, whereas it's the same app. So again, music app, it just doesn't have the videos tab. The videos tab, it's its own thing, like that. So, yeah. Can you tell how insane that is? Can you tell that I have fond memories? Can you tell that I absolutely love this thing? And it would not be this good of a deal for the next few years. And honestly, even then, it's not a great deal. But it is as close to the phone as you can get for $400 less in 2010. Maybe they just want to get everyone onto the A4 and Apple Silicon and, FaceTime and everything. Because, it's really popping off. Because the iPhone 4 has been popping off. So, and despite antenna gate, right, it didn't really stop the iPhone 4 from popping off. And, well, the iPod Touch has none of these issues. Because, it has no cellular radio. It can only do Wi-Fi. It cannot make phone calls. So, yeah, of course, unsurprisingly, this is a massive hit. And also, too, the white model, again, just like the iPhone 4, it cannot ship on day one. It actually only shipped in 2011 with iOS 5. So it's also weird. So that's why you can only see iOS 4 apps like the voice memos icon, like this, on a black model, because the white model, despite being the 4th gen, only runs iOS 5, and of course, it has all the iOS 5 apps, where it's this one only on iOS 4. At least, it's not like, oh, it's 50% faster, but it's the same iPod Touch, basically. It's not the same iPod Touch. Anyway, yeah, so that's the iPod Touch 4 on iOS 4. Hope you enjoyed it.